Hi, my name is Leah Day, and welcome to this video for the Free Motion Quilting Project. We're ready to finish up our motif by stitching around it with a very dense design, and this is called Jagged Scribble. It's basically the same idea of cat hairball filler on a very dense scale. It's kind of that same idea of overlapping and building up texture and almost thread painting. Only with this particular design, we're using jagged, scribbly lines, a lot of straight lines, a lot of sharp angles. And this is a really good design to practice straight lines and sharp angles if that's a struggle for you. So let's get on the machine and see how this works in free motion. So you can see how much I filled within this area. I have marked these motifs, I've stitched around them, I've even started to fill with this jagged scribble. Now let me zoom in. We're going to get started about right here. And really it's entirely up to you how complex your motifs become. I'm going to get started here and I'm going to continue that same design working through this space. But it is entirely up to you how complex your motifs are. You don't have to do so many lines of quilting within a space. You don't have to fill with this dense of a design. It's entirely up to you and what look you're wanting for your quilt. Now, Jagged Scribble itself, basically it's kind of the opposite of cat hairball filler. Instead of E shapes being repeated, we're kind of overlapping triangles. Overlapping very straight lines, sharp angles, boxy shapes, just repeatedly swinging around to fill up the space completely. Now this is something extra that I've learned from working on Duchess reins, and that is to go back along that line, that motif line that we outlined, and just stitch right along it, and that just enhances it, builds up the thread just a little bit through those areas. And then I go back to filling, and I just kind of alternate between the two. And the reason being is I think it looks a little bit better. I think it builds up that line, makes it stand out even more, makes a very bold statement between the filler design and the actual motif. Makes that motif just pop that much more. You can see that I'm keeping this a lot more open than the cat hairball filler we learned earlier this year. I'm really not going for thread painting. I want this to be a fill that fills densely and tight so that I get some puff in my motif, but I don't want it so dense and tight that this area just goes white with thread and it basically looks like I've just thread painted through the area. I don't want that. I want to leave some gaps in this. And really the best advice is just kind of fill through the area. And if there's anything that seems too open to you, go back in and throw some more thread in it. And it's not that tricky. And if you have an area that seems like it's too built up, don't worry about it. You know, this is one of those fills that's very forgiving. The only struggle that you'll probably have with it is honestly moving too quickly. If you stitch this on a big scale and you quilt it very fast, it's very easy to get really big stitches with this because it's such a comfortable movement. It's just scribbling. It's just overlapping. You're not trying to hit lines. You're just trying to stay within the space. So it is very, very easy, and that means that it's very easy to kind of go out of control with it. So just remember that your hands have to stay in tune with your foot. That ratio has to be the same. So no matter how fast you're stitching, just make sure that you maintain a nice balance between the two. I'm just about finished up with this area. And so basically, I don't really work through this with any rhyme and reason. You can see that I bounced all around this particular space as I filled it, and that's perfectly fine. Because this is all outlined and stitched, it's already got several lines of quilting through it, you know, it's pretty much a free-for-all. You can go with this with, you know, however you want and feel a lot of freedom to fill as you go. You know, the area is stitched, it's secured, so pretty much fill through the space with the jagged scribble and have some freedom of movement with this. If you feel like one area needs to be filled first, or you want to fill from left to right or right to left, however you want to do it is perfectly fine. The quilt itself is secured. It's not going anywhere, and more than likely you're not going to see any shifting or any weird things going on as you fill through the space with this design. So that's it for this video. My name is Leah Day, and this has been a video for the Free Motion Quilting Project. Find hundreds of videos on brand new free motion quilting designs, stitching them out in many different places, and find the quilt-a-line that we're working on through this year, stitching out the quilt behind me, Release Your Light, where you can find a spoon flower panel and quilt right along with us and try out all of these beautiful designs. Find all of this and more at freemotionproject.com. Until next time, let's go quilt.